Hi everybody. Today's lesson is about ratios, rates, and unit rates. I want to start the lesson by reminding you to have your study guide, a pencil, your calculator, and be somewhere comfortable where you can be paying attention to everything we're talking about. Okay? I want to begin the lesson by reminding you that ratios are a comparison of two quantities. You could have 8 to 12. We write them in a similar fashion to a fraction, only you will recall that ratios must always have a number present in both the numerator and the denominator, even if the denominator is a 1. Whenever you have a ratio, you should always simplify it to its simplest form. Rates are a particular kind of ratio. Where ratios compare two quantities, rates compare two quantities that have different measures. So you might have something like this: 125 miles in 2 hours. We would say 125 miles per hour. Per 2 hours. That is the rate at which my vehicle is traveling. I could have other rates. I could say 9 gallons in 1 pail. I could say 100 cats per 9 old ladies. I'm comparing cats to old ladies, gallons to pails, miles to hours in these 3 rates. When I read the rates, I read the labels as part of the rate, and I also use the word per. Per is referring to the line that says division. That's what the measures must be compared by. 125 miles per 2 hours. I'd like you to stop the vodcast for just a minute and try to write a couple of rates yourself. Take a look at your study guide. Okay, so we've talked about rates, and now I want to talk to you about some very specific types of rates. The first one is a unit rate. So a unit rate is a rate, so a comparison of two quantities, but the unit rate is per a single unit, hence unit rate. So when we go back to my example of 125 miles per 2 hours, we want to rewrite this as a ratio that is per 1 unit or per 1 hour. When we say a unit rate, the bottom unit, the denominator unit, the per unit, is the thing that gets reduced to 1. So I reduced 2 hours to 1 hour. Well, let me get that out of there. 1 hour. And so I did that by dividing by 2. So I need to divide my 125 miles also by 2. And I come up with 62.5 miles per hour. This is the rate of speed of my vehicle. You will have to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the number in the denominator. I divided by 2 in order to get my single unit in the bottom of the rate. Okay? It's very important that you keep the labels for the measures in your rate. And if you get a decimal in the numerator, that's okay. You should use the same decimal rules that we use in class, so round to the second place. I'd like you to stop the video and go on to your worksheet and do those couple of problems about unit rates. Okay, how'd you do? I hope you did okay. I think, I'm sure you did. The last thing I want to really talk to you about is unit prices. And so this is a particular kind of unit rate. Kind of makes sense, right? So a unit price is a ratio. That is a rate, so it's two different measures, and it is per one single unit. So what this is dollars per unit, okay, per one unit. So say I have a pack of pens that I'm buying that costs $4.99. And in the pack of pens, there are 3 pens. So how much am I purchasing the pens for? Well, to know the actual value of each pen, I have to find the unit rate. So I'm going to simplify to a unit, a single unit. The pens become 1. If I paid $4.99 for 3 pens, what did I pay for 1 pen? I divided the pens by 3 pens by 3, so I need to divide the $4.99 by 3. And I come up with $1.66. So my unit price is $1.66 per pen. When we do problems like this in class, in the book, we actually are asked to make comparisons. And so we're going to take a look at that by comparing the cost of 2 different things. So say I have that, let's use the same problem, $4.99 per 3 pens, and I'm paying $15.49 for 10 pens. And I don't want to leave my dollar signs out. Okay, always money goes in the top. Always the money goes in the top. So we already know that I'm paying $1.66 for 1 pen. How much am I paying for the 10 pens? $15.49. If I reduce this to a unit price, the cost of each pen in this part of the problem is $1.55 per pen. So which is the better deal? This one right here. Okay, so I'd like you to stop the vodcast and go try a couple of unit prices in the study guide. Okay, so just a little note about using the word per. This is the word that we are now using when we're talking about rates. Okay, we used to say, or we say when we have ratios, 4 to 5. We use the word 2 when we're talking about the comparison of the 2 numbers. That's kind of what's placing the line in the ratio. When we are using the word per, this really indicates a rate of some kind, which means a measure. Our 2 measures are involved. So 8 windows per 2 floors in my house. 8 windows per 2 floors. The per is referring to the line. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to mention to you is a very special kind of ratio called an aspect ratio. And this is just something that's mentioned in the book, and it's a good thing to know when people mention the term what it means. It actually refers to a movie or a television screen, and it's a comparison of the width of the television screen to the height of the television screen. Some common ones are 4:3, 47 to 20. Okay, we would say those 4:3, 47 to 20. Whenever you have a ratio like this, you would simplify them the way you would do any other ratio. I just wanted you to be aware of what the term aspect ratio is referring to. So one of the questions on Edline will be, what is the person doing on the television? Make sure you give it some thought. That's all for now. I'd love you to go online to Edline and just check in on the discussion for this section. Thank you.